Hello everyone, today we're taking a look at the Radeon HD 7970 1GB version, and we're going to see how it performs in 2017. So let's take a look at some of the specifications of the card. The card has 896 stream processors, 56 texture units, 16 ROPs, a 1 GHz core clock, and a 6 GHz memory clock, along with a 128-bit memory interface, 1 GB of GDDR5, an 85-watt TDP. It's built on a 28nm process, and it supports up to DX12 and Vulkan. It was released on March of 2013 for a price of $149 USD. The model we're taking a look at today is the Sapphire HD 7970 Dual X Overclock version, which has a core clock of 1075 MHz and a memory clock of 6.4 GHz. For those of you who are more familiar with the R7 series, this card is essentially a fully unlocked Bonaire GPU. So it's an R7 260X, but with 1 GB less of VRAM and some slightly slower clock speeds. Before we jump into overclocking and game benchmarks, let's go ahead and replace the thermal paste like I do with all my used GPUs. So enjoy the music. Alright, well I have Msi Afterburner pulled up running Unigine Heaven, and here's a look at it running at the stock frequencies. I also have the test system pulled up on the left hand side, so you can see the system that we use today throughout all of our benchmarks. Well, I finally got my overclock dialed in, and the end result was 1340 MHz on the core, which is a 24% increase over stock. And then we got a 1700 MHz on the memory, which is a 6% increase over stock. We did have to max out the core voltage at plus 100 millivolts, and we did max out the power limit as well. I did run the fan at 80% fan speed throughout all of our overclock tests, and that kept the GPU core below 65C. Now on to the benchmarks. I did fire up a couple of DX12 capable games, and the first one I tried was Deus Ex Mankind Divided, and looking at the frame rates and the frame times, DX12 performance is actually worse. Significantly worse when it comes to frame times. The next game I tested was Rise of the Tomb Raider in DX12, and looking at the performance, DX12 actually runs better than DX11. Frame times were about the same, but overall, if you're going to play this game with this card, DX12 is the way to go. And one of the last things that I tested was power consumption, and I used Rise of the Tomb Raider at the very start of the game as a benchmark to test power consumption. And what we saw with the test system with this card installed is at the stock frequency, at the fan at auto setting, the whole system was pulling around 146 to 149 watts at the wall. After dialing in our overclocks, we saw the power consumption jump to 190 to 193 watts at the wall. We left the fan speed on auto as well. Alright, well that's our look on the Radeon HD 7790 1GB version. It still does pretty well in today's modern titles, even with that 1GB of VRAM. However, you will be running most of the settings from low to medium at 1080p. I do have some similar content coming up for a number of other cards, so stay tuned for that. And I appreciate you guys checking out the video. Take care.